What's up, people? Orsicourse here, coming at you with another Paragon deck build. So we got a new patch for Paragon about 2 days ago, and I've been playing with some of the new characters. I've been watching how they play, when I'm playing against them, and I've come up with some deck builds for some of the characters who have had significant work done. The first one being Kallari. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not a big Kallari player, but I've seen her changes. I've read the notes. I've played against her. My buddies have played her. So I've come up with a deck build that I run for Kallari. So let's go ahead and jump into it here. So I'm level 5 Kallari. I start off with the Archmagus. I go with this one because I think the power is going to benefit her the most. She does benefit a little bit from attack speed, but I think the power, raw power, is where she benefits the most. Mostly because when she comes out of stealth, she hits you so hard because she gets that bonus 250%, I believe is what it is. So raw power is where I decided to go with that. Now, as we get into her consumables, I went health potion, healer token, and then I go with the strike token. Now, if you want to replace one of these with a scout sword, you can. I usually am okay until I get my assassin sword a little later in game. But if you feel like you want to be a little safer, you can go ahead and go with the scout sword. I usually try to play her a little more aggressive, but and she's slippery. So the last one I have is the healer token, because if you're playing off lane, which is where I play Kallari, you'll probably be getting some poke damage here and there. But between your passive, where you regen health, and the healer token, you should be fine for the most part, as long as you don't get, as long as you're not silly, right? As long as you're not like running all the way across the map trying to kill somebody in their jungle, you'll probably be fine. You'll probably be able to hold your lane fairly well and farm pretty well, as long as you let them push up to you. Try to freeze the lane as best as you can, because you know they're going to be pushing quickly. So if you can't freeze the lane, that's good. If you can poke out a little bit, that's good. But don't die for a tier 1 tower, and don't get too greedy. Now, as we get into the equipment cards here, I start out with the adamant edges. So the adamant edges is 6 power, 60 health, and then 12 power. The reason I go with this is because power is king. Like I said, power is going to help you with your last hits. If your jungler does set up a gank or is trying to set up a gank, power is going to help you get those kills. Honestly, attack speed, crit, all that stuff isn't really viable early game. So power is where you want to be at. The health. 60 isn't that big of a deal, even with the 2 adamant edges. 60 health or 120 health isn't that big of a deal, but it will help you a little bit. It will help with survivability. It will help with a little sustain. So I go with the health. So I have 2 of those. I build them exactly the same. Now, depending on how the team is, what the team needs, you might want to go with the assassin's ward. If you didn't replace one of my strike tokens with a scout ward, you might want to pull your assassin's ward and not upgrade it. The assassin's ward is 6 power, 4 basic pin, 2.5 lifesteal. The reason I say this is because you may need to ward out the jungle, especially if they are pushing your left lane hard, or if they're rotating on your left lane pretty good. You know they're going to bully the Kallari. You might want to have a ward up just so you have that extra vision on the map, right? It'll also allow you to counter their ward. So they put wards in their jungle or even in their lanes. If you're crafty, you can actually use your ward to chop down their ward. So just something to keep up, because I know some people don't want to run wards as Kallari, but you should use them. They're a good way to counter the wards. So make sure you just keep that in mind. When you do decide to finally upgrade this, go with the lesser drains, the 2.5 lifesteal. That'll give you 10 lifesteal. This build, you hit very hard, so 10% lifesteal is actually going to do you pretty well, especially with your passive. As we get to the deck proper, I have Void Steel Daggers, I have the Whirling Wand, and the Thunder Cleaver, and I'll go over each of these. But if you don't want to watch the rest of this vid, this is it. Assassin's Sword, 3 Void Steel Daggers, Whirling Wand, and Thunder Cleaver. Now, let's go ahead and talk about these. So the Void Steel Dagger is 6 power, 4% or 4 basic pin, and then 12 power once you fully upgrade it. As I said before, power is king. Kallari, I like her to have that power because that 250% once she gets out of stealth, if your power is high, that hit is going to obliterate somebody. I've seen it take half a carry's health easy or more. So that's why I like to go with cards that give her a lot of power. Plus, the basic penetration will cut through that basic armor. And that's not as big of a deal. I think I cap out this build at about 16 basic pin, which isn't crazy. It's about half the armor, but it does make a difference. As we get down here, I equip this with 3 times the strike cards. So this gives you 12 power a piece, which is good. Like I say, you want to build that power. You want to be hitting hard. So this is what I build. Kallari's more of like a harassing type of character. You get it, you get in stealth, you get out of stealth, you go there, you poke out at them, you get away, you dive back in and do it again, and then you finish people off, of course. Now, I have another void steel dagger. I build it exactly the same, and then the last one that I'll build will be with 3 major strikes instead of the regular strikes or the 2-point strikes. So obviously right here, her deck, it causes her to hit very hard, just with the void steel daggers alone. Now, as we get a little later in game, depending on you, usually I will go with the Thunder Cleaver first, but because at this point in the game, this is when I would start doing my split push with Kallari. Kallari is a very good lane pusher, and I don't know if people realize this, but Kallari can really split push a lane, and she's really a threat, especially if you can't keep eyes on her. So I go with the Thunder Cleaver. 5.5 attack speed, melee basic attack gain additional 50% damage bonus to cleave, and then the active, instantly deal basic attack damage as basic damage to nearby enemy units. So this right here will allow you to clear the minions waves very quickly, and with Kallari's ult, if you need to get to any point in the map, like to help your team, you can do that. Now this puts pressure just like Muriel. Muriel can also do this because she has that type of ult as well. But you can push a lane, put pressure on the enemy team, and then once they come over to get you, you either disappear or you just teleport to another part of the map and punish somebody else, especially if they're low. So it allows for a lot of good strategic play. It allows for you to make the enemy team make a choice, and that's what you want to do in a MOBA. You want to make them choose, you know. And the last card here, and this is usually one I'll build last, so you can build it sooner if you want to. But if you have your void steel daggers, you will have enough power to make Thunder Cleaver viable. And that's the thing, you don't want to build Thunder Cleaver until you have enough power to make it actually useful. Now the Whirling Wand, this one is 6 power, 5.5 attack speed, and then 11 attack speed. Since the Thunder Cleaver is giving you so much attack speed, you don't really need to build attack speed on this, but the little bit that you get is going to be fine. That'll put you at a good level there. And I equip this with 3 major casts. Now, if you don't want that little bit of attack speed like I did, you can also replace this with the Wind Carver's Blade, and that is also very viable. So that is what I have for Kallari here. Now, this build seems to be working pretty well. I'm going to also take a look at her moveset here and go over her moves and her changes. So if you would like to stay for that, hang out here. Alright people, so let's go ahead and take a look at Kallari's moveset here, because he did have a few changes. So right here we have her slash, that's her basic attack, deals 52 basic damage. As you level, that move will level, it'll get stronger as you gain more power. Nothing too much to talk about there. That's just her dagger slash. Now as we get down here, her crippling dagger. So Kallari throws a dagger dealing 75 ability damage and applying a 400 or minus 400 movement speed slow for 1 second. Now, a thing to note about this, they changed her dagger to where it's similar to Richter's pull. So now once you hold that dagger button, once you release it, the dagger will throw then. So I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, it is what it is. But so for some people, they say that it's harder to hit. Some people say it's easier to hit. I guess it's just personal preference. But it's not bad. Just something to note. Now, as we get here into the Shadow Walk, so after a 1.75 second channel, Kallari enters the Shadow Plane, gaining 45 movement speed for 8 seconds or until she uses an offensive ability. Landing a slash while in Shadow Walk will deal 250 basic damage. Now, this is something I really like here. If you have a decent amount of power or a lot of power, when you come out of your stealth, you're going to hit people very, very hard. Now, thing to note though, as always, or as it's been for a while, it does take almost 2 seconds to go into your stealth. So make sure that you are in a position where you can actually stealth without getting caught out. So just something to note there. Additional, so a little side note at the bottom there, once you drop below a certain amount of health, it says 0.35 there, you will enter the shadow plane immediately. So that's good to know, just because you know, it gives you a little safety net. So you are hard to kill unless you just really get out of position, right? So keep that in mind. Shadow Dance, I like this change right here. So now your jump is just the regular jump button and it costs no mana. So once you jump, you can press it again, and you can jump again, and then you can press the jump button again, and you can jump up to additional 2 times. The only thing is, it does have a 14-second cooldown, so once you do that jump, you can't do it again for a bit. So Shadow Dance will go on a 14, 12, 10, 8-second cooldown. So at max level, it's only 8 seconds. Good change that she has though. Once you go into the shadow plane, you get 6, 8, 10, 12 health regen while in the shadows. This helps with her just her sustain. So, you know, because Kallari's squishy. Once she gets caught out a little bit, she's going to take some damage. So being able to go back into the shadow, go ahead and get a little bit of health back will allow you to stay in and harass your enemy, especially their carry, right? Because you know that you can just invis again and get back your health. So very good move right there. Allows for some very good plays, some very good harassment too. Ultimate, and they haven't really changed that too much. So Kallari applies a death mark to call all enemy heroes for 5 seconds. During that time, Kallari can reconfirm the ability to teleport to the target, applying a 250 max movement speed slow for 2 seconds and then dealing 150 ability damage upon arrival. So right here, that's her ult. Just like Murdoch's or Muriel, it's global, so she can get you anywhere on the map. This is very good for finishing people off, but also, like I say, harassing people as well. If you want to get targeted on their carry or on their phase or whoever is giving the team trouble, you can go there, you can kind of isolate that person and start dealing some damage to them. Just start taking their focus off of what they were doing immediately, right? Because if you jump on the phase or if you jump on Murdoch or Sparrow or something, they're going to have to either deal with you or die. Because that's the thing. While Kallari is squishy, while she is a nuisance, if you don't deal with her though, she can be, you know, she can wreak havoc on your team. So Death Sentence is good for securing kills and also harassing. Just make sure you don't get caught out when you do it, because if you mess around and they see you coming and they are in a position where they can all turn on you, you will definitely die. If I was prioritizing things, I would go like this. I would go with the Shadow Walk first, then I would go with the Crippling Dagger, and I would go with the Shadow Dance last. Now, if you want to play more aggressive, you might want to go Shadow Walk, Shadow Dance, and Crippling Dagger last. But I like to play back a little bit. I like to try to hold that left lane for as long as I can without being too super aggressive. So I usually go with the Shadow Walk, Crippling Dagger combo. Once I have all my abilities here, I always prioritize my ult over all of them, but that would be how I would build. So people, that's all I got for the Kallari build, the rework. People seem to like her. They definitely didn't make her super OP or anything, so I think she's in a pretty good place. But once you get there and you play her, you let me know what you think. If this build helps you at all, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and we'll see you in the next video, people. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Peace.